He was barely 20 years old when he became king, yet within little more than a decade, he had carved out one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. His name still echoes across history: Alexander the Great, son of Philip II of Macedon, student of Aristotle, master of strategy, and conqueror whose ambition stretched further than the known world itself. His story is not just about battles won and lands claimed, it's about vision, drive, and a relentless hunger to push beyond every horizon. From the mountains of Greece to the scorching deserts of Persia and the rivers of India, Alexander's march of conquest reshaped civilizations and left a legacy that endures thousands of years later. It all began in 336 BCE, when Philip II was assassinated and his young son Alexander inherited the throne of Macedonia. Many doubted him. He was young, untested, and surrounded by rivals both at home and abroad. But Alexander wasted no time. Within months, he crushed rebellions in Greece, destroying the city of Thebes so thoroughly that it stood as a warning to anyone who dared resist him. With Greece firmly under his control, his sights turned eastward toward Persia, the richest empire of the age, spanning from Asia Minor to Babylon and beyond. For most men, this would be unthinkable. For Alexander, it was destiny. In 334 BCE, with just 40,000 soldiers, Alexander crossed the Hellespont into Asia. At the Battle of Granicus, he faced the Persians for the first time. Against overwhelming odds, he led a cavalry charge straight into the enemy, nearly losing his life but securing a decisive victory. It set the tone for his campaigns: reckless courage, brilliant tactics, and an aura that inspired loyalty among his men and fear in his enemies. From there, he swept through Asia Minor, liberating Greek cities and tightening his hold over the region. Then came one of his greatest victories, the Battle of Issus in 333 BCE. Facing King Darius III of Persia himself and an army many times larger, Alexander's forces should have been crushed. Instead, he exploited the terrain, struck with precision, and sent Darius fleeing the battlefield, abandoning even his family. Alexander captured the Persian king's wife, mother, and daughters, treating them with unexpected respect, a gesture that earned him admiration but also reinforced his power. He wasn't just a conqueror, he was beginning to craft the image of a ruler destined to unite East and West. From Issus, Alexander turned south, marching into Phoenicia and laying siege to the island city of Tyre. The siege lasted 7 brutal months, with Alexander constructing a massive causeway to reach the fortified island. When the city finally fell, it was a testament to his persistence and engineering brilliance. Then, in a move that stunned the ancient world, he marched into Egypt. Unlike other lands, Egypt welcomed him as a liberator from Persian rule. At Memphis, he was crowned pharaoh, and at the Oracle of Siwa in the desert, he was proclaimed the son of Zeus Ammon. From that moment on, Alexander believed he carried divine favor, not just a king, but a god in the making. In 331 BCE, he founded a new city at the mouth of the Nile, Alexandria, which would go on to become one of the greatest cultural centers of antiquity. But Alexander's true prize remained: Persia itself. In October of 331 BCE, on the plains of Gaugamela, the decisive confrontation took place. Darius assembled a massive force, including war elephants and scythed chariots, determined to crush the invader once and for all. Yet Alexander's tactical genius prevailed. Leading his cavalry in a bold flanking maneuver, he once again sent Darius fleeing, this time for good. Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis, the heart of the Persian Empire, fell into his hands. At Persepolis, the jewel of Persia, Alexander allowed his men to plunder, and the great palace was set ablaze. Some say as revenge for Xerxes' burning of Athens a century earlier, others say as a drunken impulse. Whatever the reason, it marked the symbolic end of the Persian Empire. With Persia conquered, Alexander could have stopped. He had wealth, power, and glory beyond measure. But his ambition was boundless. He pushed further east into Central Asia, battling fierce resistance in regions like Bactria and Sogdiana, where guerrilla warfare tested his endurance. It was here that he married Roxana, a local princess, cementing alliances through both conquest and kinship. Yet Alexander was no longer just Macedonian. He was beginning to see himself as ruler of a new, blended world, adopting Persian dress, customs, and even encouraging his men to marry local women. This vision of cultural fusion was radical and not without controversy among his followers. Still, his gaze kept moving eastward. He heard of lands even richer and more mysterious: India. In 326 BCE, Alexander crossed the Hindu Kush and descended into the Punjab. There, he faced King Porus at the Battle of the Hydaspes River. The Indians brought war elephants, towering beasts that terrified Alexander's troops. But once again, strategy prevailed. Using clever maneuvers, Alexander trapped and defeated Porus's forces. And when the battle ended, Alexander did something remarkable. Instead of humiliating his enemy, he restored Porus to his throne and made him an ally. Even in conquest, Alexander understood that loyalty sometimes mattered more than fear. Yet it was here, at the edge of India, that his men finally broke. Exhausted after years of marching, fighting, and enduring heat, storms, and unimaginable hardship, they refused to go further east. Alexander wept, not for the battles won, but for the worlds he would never conquer. Reluctantly, he turned back. The return journey was grueling, crossing deserts that claimed thousands of lives. But Alexander remained determined, consolidating his empire as he went. By the time he reached Babylon in 323 BCE, Alexander was at the height of his power. He ruled an empire stretching from Greece to Egypt, from Persia to the Indus River, more than 2 million square miles, the largest the world had ever known at the time. Plans were already forming for new campaigns, perhaps Arabia, perhaps even beyond. But fate intervened. In June of that year, Alexander fell ill. Some say fever, others poison. Within days, the man who had never lost a battle, the god-king of a vast empire, was dead. He was just 32 years old. His empire, too vast and fragile to hold, fractured almost immediately. His generals, the Diadochi, carved it into pieces, warring for control. Yet Alexander's legacy endured. Cities he founded, like Alexandria, became hubs of culture, science, and trade. His vision of blending cultures shaped the Hellenistic age, spreading Greek ideas across Asia while absorbing wisdom from the East. His tactics are still studied in military academies, his ambition still fascinates historians, and his myth still inspires storytellers. Alexander the Great lived fast, conquered relentlessly, and died young, leaving behind a legend that has never truly faded. So what do we take from his story? Was he a visionary uniting cultures or a ruthless conqueror driven by ego? Perhaps he was both. But one thing is undeniable. Alexander showed that a single individual, armed with courage, strategy, and unshakable ambition, could change the course of history forever. If this journey through Alexander's conquests gripped you, don't stop here. Subscribe and stay with us as we continue to uncover the hidden lives, epic battles, and untold legacies of history's greatest figures. Because history isn't just about the past, it's about the timeless stories that remind us what humanity is capable of, for better or worse.